30, I'm still single. People ask why, In fact, most people now assume that I'm just married. I must start to look a little bit older or something, because people never used to ask me that. Where's your husband? What's your husband do? Never been married. I'll be like that old spinster, but without the cats, because I don't like cats. But I'm starting to think maybe it's because, see, I talk to hundreds of men. Well, every day I say hundreds. I talk to a lot of men daily, right? I give a lot of advice, I do matchmaking, I do other stuff, content creation. And because I engage with so many men, especially married men, men who are cheating, I've just experienced so many things, and it's opened up my mind, and I'm like, it's just so fascinating. And then finding someone who would accept that is really quite challenging, actually. And I don't have the time, I invest so much time in what I do because I love what I do. Over Christmas, I struggled, obviously I'm a mum and nursery was closed, and I was like, I just want to work. I'm like an absolute addict to my job,
She's 30, still single, and people keep asking her why, treating it like a red flag. Here's the reality. Being single at 30 is a yellow flag that requires explanation, especially for women. It doesn't automatically mean something's wrong, but it raises legitimate questions. Here's why people ask. By 30, most people who wanted relationships have found them. Your peers are married, engaged, or in long-term partnerships. If you're still single, it suggests either you weren't prioritizing relationships or nobody chose you for commitment. Both deserve examination. For women specifically, 30 is significant because you've spent your entire peak attractiveness years, 18 to 29, without locking down a partner. Your fertility is beginning its steep decline, making family building time-sensitive. The quality men your age are increasingly dating younger women. Your dating pool shrinks dramatically while competition intensifies. So when people ask why you're single at 30, they're really asking, what's been preventing you from achieving what most people accomplish by this age? The possible answers? You had unrealistic standards and rejected good options waiting for perfect. You prioritized career or independence and delayed relationships too long. You had bad relationships but poor judgment in selecting partners repeatedly. Nobody wanted to commit to you, suggesting issues with your personality, behavior, or value. You were in a long-term relationship that ended, putting you behind peers who partnered successfully. Not all of these are damning, but they all require honest self-assessment. Being single at 30 isn't a deal breaker, but it's absolutely a flag that needs explanation. The longer you're single past this point, the more concerning the pattern becomes. If she's defensive about the question instead of honestly examining why, that's an even bigger red flag.
I'm concerned for my well-being because I was talking to my sister yesterday and I was like, I'm so comfortable being single that it's concerning me. And she was like, well, yeah, the longer you're single, the harder it is for you eventually to share your life with someone and open up. And yeah, I get her perspective, but you guys, I literally sleep like a baby every night. I love being single. You don't understand. I have the most peaceful, drama-free life. I'm the best I've ever looked. Go back on my videos. I haven't felt heartbreak in 2 years. I'm so stable financially, mentally, spiritually. Everything in my life is just this. It's just beautiful and peaceful. And I'm like, oh my God, if I threw a man in that mix, that's just a wild card. Who knows what would happen, I literally just wake up and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do today? I'm the center of my universe right now. And that is the best feeling. And so I'm scared for myself. I'm like, how long can I keep this going? It's going to be 2 years of me being single, but I'm like, I live for this. It's the best feeling ever.
She's saying she loves being single so much it scares her. She loves the peace, drama-free life, and stability, financial, mental, spiritual. She hasn't felt heartbreak for 2 years. Let me explain what's really happening here. She's not scared of loving singleness. She's scared of leaving her comfort zone. She's built a life that's predictable, controlled, and requires nothing of her beyond maintaining herself. That feels safe compared to the vulnerability, compromise, and risk that relationships require. Here's the reality. Peace and being drama-free is easy when you're alone. You control everything, answer to no one, and never have to navigate another person's needs, emotions, or presence. That's not strength or fulfillment, it's comfort and risk avoidance. Stability when single is maintaining the status quo. Relationships require growth, adaptation, and tolerating discomfort. She's chosen ease over expansion. Not feeling heartbreak for 2 years sounds like victory, but it actually means she hasn't been vulnerable, hasn't risked anything, and hasn't let anyone close enough to potentially hurt her. That's not healing, that's hiding. What she's really saying is, I've optimized my life for solitude and convinced myself this is fulfillment, but deep down I'm scared that I've become too comfortable alone to ever successfully integrate someone else. And she should be scared, because the longer you stay in this safe, controlled, solo existence, the harder it becomes to share your life with someone else. You get rigid, set in your ways, unwilling to compromise, and romantically incompetent from lack of practice. She thinks she loves being single. What she actually loves is avoiding the challenges, growth, and vulnerability that partnership requires. And if she stays on this path, she'll wake up at 50 or 60 realizing her peace was just loneliness dressed up as empowerment.
Invisible costs that women pay to exist that men don't even think about. All right, well, let's take a look. Beauty expectations, waxing, brows, hair, laser. Yeah, you don't need this to exist, actually. You could just look natural. The pink tax, same product, same ingredients, higher price. Well, then just buy the male product if you've recognized this. At this point, if you still buy female products, that's a skill issue. The price of periods, pads, tampons, painkillers, yeah, these require raw materials. So here are all the raw materials and tampons alone. If you can manage to start a company, source the raw materials, package the products, and give it to women for free, be our guest. Workplace bias, dress professionally. Yeah, men have to dress professionally too, sweetheart. You wanted equal treatment, you get equal treatment, and then you cry discrimination. The cost of safety, taxis instead of walking. Oh yeah, no, because men don't pay for safety. It's not like men are experiencing assault and violence at a higher rate than women. Oh, wait, yeah, they are. The motherhood penalty, career pauses, slower growth, smaller pensions. Well, you all did this to yourselves. Women were happier under the patriarchy, statistically, and then feminists had the bright idea to fight for the right to work alongside men in the workforce. The price of aging. Oh yeah, because men don't age. Just women out here aging. Anti-aging marketed to us before we even... Same thing to men. It's the same stuff. It's just that we're smart enough to not believe that some cream is going to stop us from aging. That is just so tough.
It's only the period stuff that's valid. All the other things are free choice. Generally, women's dress professionally still leaves them a lot more freedom of choice than the professional rules for men.
I just saw a guy post a video about 5 reasons why everyone's single right now. And it was just, he hit all the points so perfectly. If I remember his name, I'll drop his name or tag it in the comments. But there was one point he talked about in particular that I thought was so interesting that not a lot of people talk about why everyone is single. And it's actually something I've seen a lot, especially used kind of as an excuse for men. But I just thought this point was really interesting. Because the obvious reasons are, social media, dating apps, et cetera, has ruined dating, which we know this. Yes, that's true. But another point he made is that a lot of people, older generations, when they met when they were, super poor or, they didn't have to be, in a certain place in life in order to get into a relationship and get married. And now we see a lot of people today who use that as an excuse to not get into a relationship or not want something serious or not want marriage. They say that they need to do X, Y, and Z, or they need to make a certain amount of money in order to be in a relationship or feel comfortable to take something seriously. And I especially see this with men a lot, men that I've talked to, men that my girlfriends have talked to, even guy friends that I've talked to who are almost 30 and still not ready because they're not where they want to be in life, or they're not making a certain amount of money, or don't have that business that they've been wanting to start, which to a certain extent I get. Sometimes you do need to focus on yourself and you really just don't have time to bring another person into your life. But it gets to a certain point where I just feel like it's I'm sorry, but you're going to end up being single for the rest of your life. Like, I think that if you want a family, then prioritizing getting into a relationship is something that should be important to you, especially when you're in your late 20s, because you're going to start running out of options. People are going to start getting into relationships and getting married, and your options become more and more limited the older you get. And one example I can think of is somebody that I know who is in their mid-30s already, and is someone who is like posting and like reposting content about like having to like work on yourself, or like kings chase the crown and don't chase the queen, like that type of content. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but and this is a person that has said that like they do want to get married and have a family one day. And I'm like, you're already in your mid-30s and you're like consuming and liking this kind of content of like you still need to keep working on yourself and like achieve all these things, like just obviously like not prioritizing or like wanting to put any sort of effort into starting some sort of serious relationship. Like, I don't know. I really don't understand it, because to me, I think that you can always work on yourself and better yourself even while in a relationship. Like, isn't that the whole point? Like, you're going to change and grow, but you're going to do that with somebody who is there to support you and be in your corner. And I think that whole aspect of a relationship is so cool. And like, I am someone who wants a family and kids. If you don't ever want a family and kids, and obviously it's not something you ever need to prioritize, but I don't know, it's just something I've seen time and time again with like guys, especially that like I've talked to, or just like guy friends of like, they're already in their late 20s or early 30s and they're still not ready to settle down because they're not in the certain place that they want to be in life. And like my parents, for example, they have been happily married for a long time and met when they were both super poor. And my mom just knew that my dad was a really hard worker, had a lot of ambition and drive in life, and wanted to grow with him. And they did together. My mom was able to become a stay-at-home mom because my dad now makes a lot of money. But he wasn't when they first met, and my mom was actually making more money than him when they first met. And yeah, I feel like we've like completely lost that. Like, I don't know, I think it's just really interesting. Like, I think our culture a lot really emphasizes this like self, like you need to like work on yourself and like self-improvement and self-growth. And it's like, yes, to a certain extent you do, and it is important, but it just gets to a certain point where it's like, if you're not going to put any sort of effort into trying to like meet people or get into like a serious relationship, and having a family and kids is something you want, it's like, then like, how are you going to get that? Like, I don't know. Does anybody else like feel this way or have experienced this? But it's really crazy to me, because I'm like, you're already like I'm like, dude, what do you mean you're not ready yet? Like, you're literally running out of time. Like, and I guess for women too, it's like women who like want kids maybe think about it more than guys who want kids. It's like, we do have like a biological clock in a sense. Guys don't really have to worry about that as much. So maybe that's like part of the reason too, but I don't know. I just find it so interesting. And yeah, it's like, you can still work on yourself while getting into a relationship. Like, I just don't understand.
Everyone's single because the bar quietly became perfection, not compatibility. You're expected to be healed, wealthy, attractive, regulated, ambitious, spiritual, trauma-free, and effortless before you're even allowed to be noticed. Dating stopped being about growing together and turned into a job interview for a finished product. No one's perfect, so everyone stays alone. Men already know we will be single the rest of our lives. We've known since COVID that every woman will eventually get bored and leave. It's women who are just realizing this. Attractive guys just keep rosters now because women treat us better in a roster than if we commit.
The dating apps suck, and this is why. I got into a conversation with some friends and coworkers recently about issues with modern dating, specifically what's wrong with these dating apps. And the common denominator of what I hear from my friends, my peers, etc., between the ages of 20 and 30 and whatever, is that the apps feel incredibly transactional. They take away the element of excitement that comes with approaching someone IRL, and all the good matches are behind a paywall. And what I mean by good matches are those that are actually compatible with you, not this spewed bullshit on your feed, on your Hinge feed, where it's like, this is the most compatible, and it's someone you would probably never date in real life. So the algorithms are screwed up. They're designed to be addictive. A friend of mine had also said that staying on dating apps actually like lowers your self-confidence and doesn't make you feel good. So what if we designed better dating apps that like actually made you want to be on them and made you feel good about yourself? I feel like so many people also see dating as a game because the apps make dating gamified, and you forget that you're literally interfacing with people and like messing with people's juju and their lives. Like they're not just little bots on a screen. Similar analogy is like when you're working remote and you've never met your team in real life, like you just think that they're whatever on your screen, but they're literally people with lives and they're humans. And we forget about this human element when it comes to dating. There's like a whole new type of like Hinge dating etiquette that never existed pre-app era. And the fact that this is all relevant now, I think completely screws up the ways in which humans are meant to be social and interact in real life. And it's like the idea of like approaching a stranger years ago before apps was never even a question. That's how people literally met. The fact that now we're relying on like a phone to be making these IRL experiences easier, it blows my mind. So yeah, the issue with dating apps is that the devices are addictive, the apps are addictive, it dehumanizes people in relationships, and all of this is literally like the perfect equation, the perfect storm for loneliness. And when you're lonely, you're not feeling good, your mental health is suffering, and people will further isolate and feel divided. There are so many issues with modern dating, the ways in which people relate to one another. I could go on and on and on, but like clearly I'm heated about this because I don't think apps are it, honestly, I don't.
Modern dating is all transactional. If you don't earn enough money, no lady will date you. Dating apps should not be easier for women. They're set up for women to succeed. At any given point, they have dozens, if not hundreds of likes or options. Most men get 0 likes because of their looks.
This makes me so sad because, yeah, a lot of women will say this shit, and it's not right, in my opinion. Like, by having that narrative be perpetuated, like, oh my god, this guy talked to me and he, like, wasn't cute. It's like, okay, it's flattering that someone found you attractive and was interested and they had the courage to tell you that or to at least approach you. So I think, like, women need to do a better job of not being a bitch to guys, truthfully. Like, we should just treat people generally with, like, a baseline level of respect and kindness, even if we're not romantically attracted to them, right? As cheesy as this sounds, like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, like, if a guy approached me and I didn't find him attractive, who's to say that, like, some other girl from across the room doesn't think he's cute, you know? So the issue is, like, when we personalize rejection also on that end, we start to, like, let other people's opinions dictate our self-perception. And it's like, okay, if a guy were to come up to me and I didn't think he was attractive, and if I let him down in, like, a very not nice way, which I wouldn't do, but if I did that, he would be more inclined to think, oh, well, she doesn't like me, therefore I'm not worthy of being liked. And then it's like the negative, reinforced thought pattern. But it's like, if the guy can get to a place where he's like, okay, she didn't like me, who gives a shit? Like, on to the next. That's the mentality we need to have in life, truthfully. And it's about building the resilience to face rejection, in my opinion.
I just wish women could see what it's like on the approaching end of dating, because they will then see what men have to deal with. It's easy for women to say don't be afraid of rejection when they themselves have never been in a position to do the approaching. Or if they are rejected, it's a super nice no with some compliments. When we personalize rejection, bro, they are rejecting us. It doesn't get more personal than that. The problem is, a lot of the nicer or more average guys have been on to the next for years now. They find someone, they finally work up the nerve, and they get turned down. Over and over and over again. You can only lose so many times before you just start to think you're not meant to win.
I made a TikTok about how a woman was literally surrounded by a bunch of grown men on an airplane, and she like needed help with like getting a man's carry-on off, and none of the men even like fucking blinked an eye to help her. And she was like, okay, fuck off. Like, what the fuck? Like, I have four grown men here. I'm sick of being the man, blah, blah, blah. She popped off. I was like, good for you, you know? And men are in the comments being like, you guys wanted equality. You guys want equality. Oh my God, if you are one of the men that are saying that, then you are the fucking issue. You are a waste of space. Your mother coddled you too much and you have no manners. Okay? Because that's not equality. That is literally just being nice. Having manners. Being raised right. Because if I was in the aisle seat and I had a direct line to that bag and this man is coming through multiple rows from the front to try to get his bag in the back, yeah, I'm gonna be like, oh, let me grab that for you. I'm a fucking tall 6'4" man. All I gotta do is this. Boom, boom. Woman is 5'2". Y'all are like, you guys want equality. No, you're just being rude and you have no fucking manners and you need to shut the fuck up. If you're in my comments saying that, then get a life, get a textbook, read how to be a good fucking human, and stop wasting space on this fucking earth. Okay?
But all jokes aside, if she asked for help, 99.9% of men would help. If she didn't ask, I'm just going to assume she's got it, and touching her belongings without her saying she wanted me to would lead to a lawsuit. Life is too short to be stressing over business that ain't yours, especially for an unknown person. Her video implies gender-based expectations and that men have to do things for women because they're men. It's called entitlement. No one is owed anything in life, and they aren't rude because they don't want to go out of their way to help someone they don't know. You don't get to say, let's dismantle the patriarchy, but keep the gender roles that benefit us. That's not how this works. If you want to get rid of the patriarchy, you have to accept that you're going to have to sacrifice things too.
All right, ladies, let's talk about why men do not court anymore. Let's go. The reality is that modern feminism in a lot of ways had us as women take a gamble and we lost. We took the bait that being sexually promiscuous and having no standards and no self-respect was cool and in. We decided that we would give men access to our bodies and our time and our energy without them having to put in any effort. We have allowed men to do the bare minimum for so long, and we still give them benefits that they don't deserve. And so now men are following suit, and we are confused as to why this is happening. It's okay to want a man to lead and to court you, but you have to understand that we collectively as women set the tone. So if the tone of the dating market is that all women are easy now and that men can pretty much get whatever they want and do whatever they want and still get access to us, then that's what the majority of men are going to do. There are plenty of men who are good men who love women and respect women and honor women. But even those men, if they are single and there are women out there that are throwing it at them, they're going to catch it. So just ask yourself, what kind of woman are you? And are you contributing to the problem? Are you the kind of woman who is allowing men to be low vibrational and contributing to this idea that all women have low standards and that men can do the bare minimum and get away with it? Or are you a woman who's leading by example and challenging other women around you to do the same by operating from a place of self-dignity, self-respect, values, standards, strong boundaries, a woman who knows her worth? Before we start whining and complaining about what they aren't doing, let's take a look at what it is that we are doing.
This isn't the reason men don't court. We realized going after modern women wasn't worth it, and we want our peace. She's saying that we should be paying for it, that we should be groveling and begging them. No, sweetheart, your type is the reason we stopped, not the women who give it up. The women who think they're deserving of everything a man has. But also, men only court women that are kind, sweet, and caring, not women that use terms like bare minimum and deserve and act entitled. Unfortunately, sister, that ship has sailed. We now really see you. Y'all are not innocent princesses needing to be saved by a good man. You are nose rings, chest tattoos, narcissistic, and body count don't matter. The line of fine, fit woman for an average-looking man with deep resources is long and friendly. There are so many more of you than us. Why would we risk you stealing half our stuff? I want you to hold your standards, but what you won't do, the next 10 in line will. We see you and are less than impressed. The effects from feminism are kinda irreversible now. Men are now exposed to how women think and really feel due to women posting themselves on social media. We see the evil nature, emotional patterns, and unrealistic expectations.
Is there just a shortage of hot men, or like what the fuck is going on? I live in Los Angeles. This is where men are supposed to be hot. This is where people are supposed to be hot. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. Remember in the 90s when you could see like any fucking show, any teen drama, any sitcom, and like there were at least a couple good hot, I mean like actually hot, I mean like jawlines, I mean like faces you hadn't seen. I mean, like piercing eyes, big lashes. I mean, like bodies. I mean, like, despite what it might seem like, I love men, okay? I love them. I think they're so delicious. I think they're so yum when they actually are. But I feel like we're living in a time that's just, what is going on? And everywhere I go, women, stunning, beautiful, incredible, no notes, beautiful, stunning. They don't even look alike. They all look so good, so good. And here I am, a raging bisexual, and yet I love men. I think they're so yum. I think they're so delicious. When I can find one, okay? And listen, if I find a man, if I find an attractive man that I see that I'm like, that is a hot man, he's either attached to a partner, a woman, or attached to a partner, a man, or insufferable to speak to. I mean, oh my God. There's no subject matter that actually intersects in terms of what we're interested in. And I just don't understand. I work in alcohol. I'm in bars literally for my job. I am in bars by myself 4 times a week at minimum. And I look around all the time and I think, is this what we have? Is this what we have? And honestly, it wouldn't bother me if more men had like great personalities or were fun or exciting or like offered some kind of rhetoric that was interesting. But oh my God. Oh my God. We want to like you so bad. We want to like you so bad. Please make it easier on us, okay? That's my PSA.
She lives in Los Angeles and is asking where the hot men are. Isn't LA where hot men are supposed to be? Where men are always hot? Let me explain what's actually happening. Hot men exist everywhere, including LA. The problem isn't location, it's that the hot men in LA aren't choosing her. LA has millions of people, including attractive, successful men, but it also has extremely competitive dating market where hot men have unlimited options, women who are younger, more attractive, and have fewer demands than her, entertainment industry culture where looks, status, and youth are currency, high standards across the board, everyone's competing for top-tier partners. She's in one of the most looks-obsessed, status-driven cities in the world and complaining she can't find hot men. Translation, hot men are everywhere, they're just not interested in her. Here's the reality. Hot men in LA are dating models, actresses, influencers, and women significantly younger and more attractive than average. If she's struggling to find them or connect with them, it's because she's not competitive in that market. She's not hot enough, young enough, or valuable enough to attract the men she wants in a city where those men have access to some of the most beautiful women in the world. Location doesn't matter if you're not the caliber of woman hot men choose. You could be in LA, Miami, New York. Doesn't matter. If hot men aren't choosing you, the problem is you, not geography. She needs to either lower her standards to men in her actual league or accept that she's not attractive enough to compete for hot men in one of the most competitive dating markets on earth.
Happened to all the men of this world. So I've just been in the post office. The queue is humongous. The little old lady behind the checkout was struggling with this box and she shouted to the other lady at the other side, "Please can you put that on the side when you've finished, because she's hurt her back." And I waited, and there's 3 men that are my age, mid to late 30s, just stood watching. And this other lady is an old lady. So I turned to her, I was like, "Would you like me to put it in the back for you?" She was like, "Would you mind?" "Of course not, where would you like it?" And at no point did any of the men step in and say, "Don't worry, love." Not love, because I don't like that word. "Don't worry, I've got this. I'll pick the package up. I'll pick this humongous box up and put it in the side." Not one man offered. Last week when I was at the dentist, there's a lingerie shop just like 3 shops down, and their package had been delivered to the dentist. This little old lady was dragging this box. It was very heavy. I said to her, "Do you want me to grab it?" She was like, no, it's so heavy. I was like, "Honestly, don't worry. I go to the gym. I can pick it up." And loads of men walked past and not one of them offered, even before me, not one of them offered to pick that box up for that old lady. She was an old lady. She was literally dragging it with all her might. Not one man offered. It's absolutely nuts. Where are all the men?
You answered your own question by saying you don't like the word love. Men can't be bothered. We can't say or do anything without upsetting someone. So we just keep ourselves to ourselves. You get judged when you're trying to help people nowadays. We have been beaten down by feminism to where it's easier, safer, due to nothing. Women are just as capable. How come when you're given the opportunity to show you're capable, you instantly make a TikTok shaming men? Very interesting.
So I said no dating apps, which seemed like a really good idea, and I'm like pretty on board with that still. But I don't go anywhere. I am at that age in my life where I'm 30. The best thing you can do is find me in a coffee shop, and quite frankly, I'm not seeing that many eligible bachelors in the coffee shops. So where are we finding people? Where are the people? What do 30 to 40-year-olds do? What do single 30 to 40-year-old men do other than go to work, go to the gym, stay at home? Do they socialise? Do they go out in groups? Is there a gaggle of men, single men, that go and do things, or do they just sit at home? Let me know, thanks.
She's asking where all the single men are and what do 30, 40-year-old men do. Here's the answer. You left them in your early 20s. Let me explain exactly what happened. In her early 20s, she had access to quality men in their late 20s and early 30s who were building careers, establishing themselves, and looking for partners to build with. These men were ready to commit, had potential, and would have locked her down during her peak years. She rejected them. They weren't exciting enough, rich enough yet, tall enough, or perfect enough. She wanted to explore, have fun, focus on herself, and date the more attractive or successful guys who wouldn't commit. Now, those same men she passed over, they spent their late 20s and 30s building wealth, status, and success, improving themselves physically and professionally, developing confidence and options. And now they're dating women in their 20s, younger, more attractive, less baggage, more fertile. The single men 30-40 who are quality and desirable aren't single anymore. Or if they are, they're not dating women her age. They're dating younger. What do 30-40-year-old men do? They date women 25 to 32, not women their own age. The men available to her now in that range are divorced with baggage and kids, never married because no woman wanted them, low value, emotionally unavailable or commitment phobic, the small percentage of quality men being competed for by every woman. She's asking where the men are because the quality ones from her generation chose younger women, and she's left with scraps. You left them in your 20s when they would have chosen you. Now they've moved on, leveled up, and you're no longer competitive for their attention. That's where they are.
On today's episode of Decentering Men, I think that what a lot of men fail to understand is that because of how the world is set up right now, there is an abundance of hyper-independent women who take care of themselves. I am one of them. I take excellent care of myself, and I am extremely proud of that because it takes a significant amount of thought and consideration and effort and energy on a day-to-day basis. And what that means in terms of welcoming a man into my life is that he needs to put that same energy, number one, towards himself, and number two, towards me. Because I'm not going to chase you. I am not going to beg you to like me. I am not going to accept your breadcrumbs. I don't want to just sit on the couch and hang out and do this low effort, low energy bullshit. I don't want to do it, which means I need to want that man. And to be blunt, I have not met a man that I have wanted in well over a year. And it's not to say that these men are bad people. It's just to say I'm not seeing men who meet my standards. And I'm aware I have high standards. However, I maintain them because I fulfill them on my own end. I am never going to ask a man to do something that I do not actively do myself. Okay? And we're just not seeing that level of effort that men are giving to themselves. And therefore, we're like, I don't want to be with you. If you can't take care of yourself, how would I
ever expect you to take care of me. And these hyper independent women, we get such a bad rap of like, we run a strict program, we get rid of all the men, we have too high of standards, all these things. And it's like, to be honest with you, be better. Like, all we want for you is to rise up to the challenge. And you just like refuse to get off of the couch, turn off the Xbox, and go to the gym. Like, basic shit, basic hygiene, basic financial shit, basic like style, right? Like they're still wearing basketball shorts from church camp in high school. It's like, what are you doing to be an adult? And if you are not an adult, why would you expect to have an adult relationship?
Why don't we ever hear men described as hyper-independent? Ever heard a male anthem about being super independent? Even if you found this, your energy instantly pushes them away. We rise to the challenge, and now it's competition who's better. Sounds like you found the perfect man in yourself.